solutions like that. That you can send to investors, to whatever. So we're gonna, I think that's kind of like the steps of kind of we help people that have ideas visualize incredible solutions. So we even have a video, look at that beautiful fences. And so we're gonna do that for you. I think at that point, at least this is what is called conceptual design or schematic design. And this, you know how everybody wins? I have students here that already have degrees, but nobody will hire them if they don't have a real product. Do you see how everybody wins?
Right.
Right? So everybody wins on this, and that's the beauty of these type of laboratories. And new term that we're gonna start bringing up is called community universities, where the project is about improving our communities. So look how beautiful all these designs. And Amanda, you wanna say too? They're different sites. These are different sites.
The one, Amanda, go back to that. What is the square footage?
That one is these 2 blocks. That's 2 blocks. That's actually the site plan. You know, that reminds me, we should always put dimensions on all the there it is. Yeah. It's the one of Martin Luther King. It doesn't have dimensions. Or maybe it's the site plan.
Hillcrest and Martin Luther King.
Or is it 4 lots?
Yeah.
4 lots.
Yeah. See right there, I think there are 4 lots. So what I did with each of the students, they pointed out the lots and then the solution. Bobby, you're coming back, right? Because I have a big question for you.
Yes, I'll be right back.
And yes, so that's a good point. I think we should give you dimensions for each of them. So thank you for Lamur Park, and thank you, Joyce, for allowing us to have that opportunity. The next thing that I would like to report, and Amanda, you were going to say something. What was your experience?
My experience being a part of the Lamur Park project was really awesome to be able to bring a solution. Like Joyce was sharing, it's a partial mobile and partial permanent solution for the community. So that way when the tiny homes are there, they can alternate between different services, men and women's showers, laundry, veterans, counseling, and different services could be there on different days. And then when the mobile units are removed, it's just a pocket park for the community to enjoy. And there could be outdoor movies or workshops. So it was a really good experience to hopefully bring a solution and bring people together for the community. So.
Question.
Yes.
Will you have also on-site mental health
Yes.
activities? Because that too doesn't happen often, say with homeless, but you do have to deal with
Exactly.
some people with stress issues that
Holistic. It's a
Yeah.
holistic thing. You
Okay.
gotta buy. Yes, there is a. So the idea, you know, a lot of these things. I don't know if you know the game Minecraft or SimCity. So what we're trying to do to make this, I think we're running out of time, to make it more agile for the community, is that we're trying to create templates so people can drag and drop. So it might be some areas that, you know, you have a lot of diabetic people. So maybe the solution that you put there is more for that. It might be another one that you meet a lot of people. So each open lot, you might drag the solution that better fit for that particular community. So it's like a video game. By the way, at SeaGraph, it's just like, I was blown away yesterday. The call at SeaGraph, everybody should definitely follow. It's like the, wouldn't you say, most important show of computer graphics, visualization. It's basically entertainment, architecture, all your tools. So it's just an incredible, and it's happening, I think today is their last day. But it's right here, down the street, right? Yeah, that's kind of one of the solutions. So another thing that we're seeing, this is a very holistic solution besides housing. Like I have here another client that she wants to develop her lot and, you know, retrofit a housing unit, or bringing right now in a second week over, so we're going to talk about the Green Idea House. We also think that a lot of times museums are up on a hill, right? Inaccessible to many people in our community. So another partner of ours is USC Institute of Genetic Medicine. And I have Barbara here. And one of the things that it's kind of interesting how the earth is pulsating so fast. We want to also create a lot of satellites of these galleries. And then these galleries will only exhibit local projects. And maybe Barbara, you want to spend like a few minutes. I have a little video here. We can turn off the lights. And then also tell them about that event.
Okay.
So I'll give you like about a few minutes.
They're going to show the video. It's Susan.
The USC
Susan,
Institute for Genetic Medicine Art Gallery, founded in the year 2000, has been developing a model that demonstrates the relationship between art and science. A model that focuses on 6 aspects: science, technology, research, engineering, art, and math. We consider art the bookend for science, where the art mind first inspires through visualization the creation of something that the science mind then implements. Once completed, the art mind then celebrates through the visual and audiovisual arts the creation, which then goes on to inspire the next idea. Based in part on a show artist Mike Sidjo presented called Thought Machine DNA, the foundational structure was formed, that of connecting people to ideas and resources, much the same as DNA connects genes on a cellular level. Social DNA is represented in a series of hexagons based on critical relationships formed throughout space and time. Currently, our strategic planning committee is working with 9 hexagons, linking ideas from the simple to the complex, the micro to the macro. From the base level of neurological and cognitive processes to the philosophical beliefs and norms of our social order, we focus on understanding our relationship to all levels of
I'll send you guys all these links, but I think what is important about that I want to share with you is that this is another partner. This is USC. So we're creating a holistic solution because we believe that every community should have access to art, should have a good shelter, right? Should have access to music performance, to exhibit. That's why so there's actually 16 points that every community should have. And then Susan, you want to share with them a handout that you have for everybody?
Yes, okay. So what's interesting with the Institute of Genetic Medicine, by the way, and I'm an artist that showed there just over a year ago. I came in as an artist, but then I work globally with a team of how do we connect what's working in the world. So I was able to actually start giving talks through my art at the art gallery, not even knowing when I stepped in the door what was possible. And so what's interesting about Institute of Genetic Medicine, it's no longer called that. This is how things are changing. I have to even read it. It's called Clinical Translational Science Institute. So how things are changing today, we're changing names even within an institution. To me, that's kind of exciting, that they're not too stagnant, that they're actually seeing that we need to make these changes in the world. So that video is just showing that Lynn Crandall, who's some of you know here, has been doing with the art gallery is how do we connect people, how do we engage, how do we empower each other, and the gallery can do that. And so something with your satellite idea you would have to speak more to, but I was just at a lunch with Lynn with a retired Congresswoman Diane Watson and a woman who does Peacemaker Corporation through the United Nations, Carol Crutchman, and I'm giving you these to hand out. She has this app where you are the leaders of tomorrow, make your voices heard around the world, submit a video, and have your film shown at the United Nations. She handed the filmmaker, who was also at the luncheon, this thing to go on his wrist, which is a like a hard drive. What are those little things? Thumb drive that has videos on it, and that she wants to take this into, like, for instance, Africa or anywhere where there's no access, and you can just have this thumb drive. I don't know how that all works, but it's fascinating. And so if you have a little video of how you want to bring peace to the world, all you have to do is look at this, and it goes to millions of people. She's already networking with millions of people and through the UN and other countries. So
Thank you so
Yes.
much. You want to pass it around?
So, one thing I want to add about Leimert Park,
over a year ago, I went to Vision Theater,
Yes.
the first time into that area, to see something about the World's Fair and a film, right? So I thought, oh, this is a beautiful area. I've never been here. So I walked around asking people in the community, what do you think about what's going on here? And they said, well, yes, it's nice, but people just 2 blocks down the street are leery, and they have no idea what's the intention of all this newness and renovation and the Crenshaw corridor. Who's behind it? And how do we get involved? So people are scared. I can see that. Here I am, just this white person coming in, and yet I see that there would be this fear of what is all this change doing? And so just a way to how do we empower the community, empower each other.
So, and I'm so happy you brought that in, because that's what we want to bring to our communities. We want to bring these labs that can actually inform, give jobs, empower, and transform our communities. And I'm going to bring, this is a good setting for the next one. Rigoberto is here. Rigoberto, raise your hand. He's going to speak 2 minutes, and then Cesar, Ricardo Chavez. Say that again? You have to leave? So before I go into that one, you need to leave first?
Exactly.
You want me to change my agenda? You know what? You know what nature does? You know what nature does? Nature is very flexible. So put on a bracket. We're going to talk about a little bit about construction and design build, that the labs will be a big part of it, because that's how we bring jobs. But Nahasi, and I'm actually going to be a speaker on put a hold on that. This is called the United Hood Nation presents a community resource job information, and he has some handouts, and basically tell them the importance of this event. Hassim.
So,
if the lights didn't turn right on. My name is Nahasi Lee. Last year on July 17th, 2016, the United Hood Nation was formed through the efforts of Minister Tony Muhammad, Snoop Dogg, and the gang. The idea was to bring, the initial idea was to attempt to have peace between the street organizations that used to be called gangs. We're trying to figure out another name to refer to them as. So 1 year later, to celebrate 365 days of that effort in the United Hood Nation to try and provide some opportunity, have former members of communities who were creating havocs in our community
thank you.
provide access to jobs and stuff. So on August 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th, there's going to be some activities. The 16th is a private activity that's going to happen between those members who are going to be discussing amongst themselves how to continue having some effort to establish peace in the communities. On the 18th, no, the 17th, which is a Thursday, which is on this side of the flyer, there's going to be a job creation activity that's going to be hosted by the people who have primary responsibility for building the Ram football stadium, the tearing down and the construction of the Jordan project, and some other Metro's train line to the airport, and some other major construction projects that in total about $150 billion over 30 years. So this activity, we would like you to invite your friends and anybody you know that needs to. They're not necessarily going to be providing jobs. They're going to be providing information about how to get into the pipeline to have access to these jobs that are going to be paying $15, $20 an hour. The major thing is that some people need to be retrained and learn how to pass the test to get the jobs. Others need to be detoxified, because the biggest problem they find is people who show up and want to have jobs in these areas, which have serious, what's the term? Substance. Most people don't want to stop smoking weed, they say. And that's a major criteria to be able to be considered for these opportunities. On the second page, the Friday and Saturday event, The Friday event is a social services activity. We would like to be able to provide you the opportunity to come in and advertise whatever social service you may have to provide to the community. There's a contact number on here. If you'd like to do that, you can contact, and we'll make arrangements to have space for you to do that.
Is there a cost for vendors?
No, there's no cost for vendors. Another person who can speak on this as well as I can just walked in the door. His name is Brad Carson. I've handed these out, Brad.
Yes, sir.
And I'm speaking to it, but I have to leave. So that's why I've interrupted Marcella's agenda, and am just doing the best I can. So if there are any other questions, I'm not going to be here for the rest of the meeting, but that guy back there, Brad Carson, he can provide you some information necessary to actually become a participant in this activity or refer people to be there on Thursday, August 17th.
And before you leave, since we're Facebooking Live, Blackhawks of California Community College.
I'm also the secretary of the Blackhawks of California Community Colleges, which is a political advocacy group that purports to represent the 90+ thousand students of African descent who attend the California community colleges. We take up the interests and the needs of students of color on the California community colleges campuses, of which African American males have been determined to be the least succeeding and achieving students in the California community college system. So with the United Hood Nation, there is a component that talks about education and literacy, and I'm really concerned with education and literacy. So I've discovered that there are certain elements and segments of our community who have difficulty reading and processing and being able to learn the way people think they should be able to learn. So that's also a major component of what the United Hood Nation is about and the Blackhawks of California Community College is about. So with that being said, thank you for your time. We have 2 Thursdays before this event is going to occur. If anybody wants to be in contact with me and you have a pencil, my name is Nehasi Lee, Nehasi. My last name is Lee. My telephone number is 310-309-0116. I just celebrated my 69th birthday last Monday, so I'm a byproduct of the 60s. I still pick up telephones, dial people, and talk on them. I've learned how to text, so you can communicate with me that way, but you really can dial that number, and I'll pick it up and answer any questions you may have. Thanks.
Thank you.
The time of the Thursday meetings?
There's a meeting of the United Hood Nation at 8039 South Vermont this evening at 7 o'clock. Every Thursday at 7 o'clock at that location. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So I'm trying to go fast because, as you know, there's so many things going on, but I feel like if we say it out loud, you guys can actually afterwards, we always have time for networking, right? And just keep thinking that the big model, the big framework is that we want to duplicate this effort through our city, through our state, through our country, because I think it can transform our living conditions with the untapped talent in our communities through galleries, through alternative housing, water solutions, stages, and all these things that can really, urban farming, that can really transform our community. And our next one is John Bollinger, Rigoberto, and Ricardo Chavez. Just, you'll introduce a little bit about yourselves, but I'm going to tell you something very quick. When I started teaching here, I wanted my students to walk out with a set of construction documents. You know how valuable that is, right? There's a lot of people that have lots that they could add a granny unit, but they sometimes don't have a set of construction documents. So one of the things we're developing, think of these, I call these a low-tech app, right? A lot of people want to customize their houses. So this is what we call the Green Idea House, where people will be able to say, no, I want the bathroom kind of at the end, I want the bedroom here. So this is actually going to be an app that people can actually customize, right? Because design is a voice. So people will be able to customize it, and once they come up with a scheme, they will come up with the idea of creating, once they get the scheme, then you can start applying different alternative materials, and Rigoberto is going to talk about it, and hemp is another alternative material. So it's even creating a whole idea of new workforce, where you will create these very small units, and the green model is right here. Right here, this is what is called a framing model, right? Where you see here the deck, where you can grow food. This is the kitchen, dining, the solar tower, and this kinematic canopy. It's a very simple structure, but it can actually be configured. That's why it's called the sandbox, because you can actually configure things around it, and then you can customize your doors, your windows, you can customize your deck. It's the whole idea that the user becomes a designer following certain guidelines. So having said that, we don't want to just use it out of normal materials. We actually want to use recycled concrete, we want to use hempcrete, and we want to use other alternative materials. And at this point, I can let Rigoberto tell us, because we actually help him with this model. They built it in Nicaragua. They already built this model in Nicaragua. Tell them how much you helped them, and tell them about your project, Rigoberto.
Okay. Okay, nice to see you again. Marcelo Oliva. I am from Nicaragua initially. My background is in physics, actually. I'm a nanotechnology technician. I work with engineers, physicists, etc., etc. One of the guys that developed a new alternative that we wait for 3 years, actually, until they are ready. He's from Utah. As inventor, he's from Utah, physicist also. They work for 20 years, looking for new solution, alternative solution. It's called SIU, S-I-U, structural building units, insulated building units. The beautiful part of this is that you can assemble the structure for 2 floors, actually. You don't need, our construction in our countries, they need, steel or framing steel, and then, the blocks and the bricks. This is a cultural thing that we have it, in our countries. This is the closer solution that they accept, because it's concrete also, but lighter, stronger, and, with isolation, it's building units, and we can build it very fast. In less than a week, we have a house built already with this system. The good thing is we negotiate, because we start with a dream, but we have to land it. You need people that they help you to land your projects. We work for several years working. This is my advice, because you are dreaming, but you have to work with the people that they are expert, professional. You have a very good financing guy, very good person in business plan, very good person in everything, specialized. And right now, we have that group both here in California, Mexico, and Nicaragua. Nicaragua will build a factory, close to $20 million, factory for this kind of building. We already secured, the letter of intent, for the first 500 houses. The capacity of the house will be, or the factory will be around 1,000. Maybe we can increase it. But also, I spoke to the inventor, because they want everything with nice finish, marble, wood, and everything. But we have another, if you want a little bit cost-efficient solution, that we use a special cutting from Dr. Hart. He's a very well-known scientist. That also we secured, we are in the process to secure the license agreement worldwide with him, with nanotechnology application. Why? Because we can decrease the cost. Everything is cost at the end. We can have the best intention of the world, but we need to think like, business, like a business person. At the end, we achieved that. I have a very close friend of mine that came in the right moment. He's a Wall Street guy, with a lot of experience, African American guy. I will introduce to this guy, Mr. Ron. He's very good. So this is the last person that came to the team to put everything, in like a business plan. I have other teams working with business plan also. Environmental impact people working. We have people working in science, in financing, and funding, investment funding, everything. Yeah. At the end, like a friend of mine, Baruch, told me, any project is everything about funding. At the end, funding. You have to convince the people that is the right way, or is the right proposal. We can share later on. I think I am waiting for Mr. Hudson to send me the last proposal of the factory. I am going to Nicaragua next 10 days. I will start to check, what place we will build the factory, because have to be close to the, supplies, supply chain, all those things. We are in that area. Marcelo Oliva helped us initially with those designs, but we wanted for other projects, especially, that environmental, oriented projects. We have solution in energy also. We negotiate solution in the energy part because everything is like a whole. You need energy for the houses. We have two solutions for that.
And that's the beauty of Rigoberto, because now he wants to come and give back. So he has these proposals. He went to the ASTM testing and all of that.
Right.
And now we want to bring another material. We want to bring hemp. We want to study hemp also as an alternative material. And for that, now I'm going to introduce Ricardo to tell us a little bit just about the importance of hemp and the possibilities and of some of the operations.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you for being back. We're bringing it back. It's for us, and I wanted, especially Bobby and other people, to help you because that brings wealth to our encounter, right? This is wealth that we all have.
Yeah. Here before, I try to come every month. My name is Ricardo Chavez, and I used to work in the medical marijuana field. I don't know more. I walked away from that. I really want to get myself more immersed in the future market, which I see being much huger than that. I mean, you guys hear about how much money is generated by recreational and medicinal marijuana, but I really, really believe that the big money in the future is going to be in industrial hemp. There's so many different things that could be made from this product. It's optimal for composites. There's even people who are talking about making semiconductors out of it. I mean, they say anything you can make out of this is for you, correct me if I'm wrong, anything you can make out of a hydrocarbon, you can make out of a carbohydrate, correct? So that basically means this could be a very disruptive technology for the petroleum industry, but also for the timber industry. In the United States, there's a lot of industries that are kind of either on their deathbed because of outsourcing to other countries and stuff like that. For instance, the paper pulp industry. You know what I mean? And we can make a high quality paper pulp out of hemp, but we can also make a high quality composites. But there's this ancient technology that's been used since the time of the Egyptians, and it's called hempcrete. Or it's pretty much an adobe concept, So basically, people used to make adobe houses out of adobe bricks. I mean, the R value in adobe houses was perfect. They didn't need air conditioning. They had insulated walls built into the house. And so you're using the same concept, like what you guys were talking about doing. And what you do is you just mix in processed hemp into a concrete binder, and then what you do is you take it in and you pour it, or you tamp it, or it can be sprayed with a more high-tech way to do it is to be sprayed into fill molds of walls, and you have a hempcrete home. Now the thing about hemp is, in its process of growing, hemp is one of the most carbon sequestering things known to mankind. It sequesters tons of carbon, metric tons of carbon during its life cycle, which is only 4 months. You get the same biomass out of 1 acre of industrial hemp that you get out of 4 acres of old growth forest. But it takes those old growth forests 40 to 400 years to grow, and it only takes that 1 acre of industrial hemp 4 months to grow. And we're in California, so we're in the best place to grow anything. I mean, that's been proven. What?
In your mixture, you were mentioning mixing it with cement. Wood products or?
No, just concrete. Concrete and hemp.
So it wouldn't be used for framing then in construction, just for foundation?
The thing is, you could, but I don't want to be misleading. You could totally create a higher...
Yeah. But as you make it more dense, you have a trade-off between how insulating it is versus how load-bearing it is.
So there's different
ratios. When you make it really dense and you add a lot more of the binder, you come up with something closer to a brick, and that could be load-bearing theoretically, but you don't have the same insulation. I mean, you also have more thermal mass, but you know,
So
some trade-offs.
there's different ratios for different applications. For instance, the mix that you would put down for your floor